cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, friends? Daniel Dopp here from the Fantasy Focused Football Podcast over on ESPN.
It's Fabs here, Michael Fabiano from Sports Illustrated.
Hey fans, this is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
You know who you can trust if you've got some questions about your fantasy squad?
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do you want to lose your league? If you want to check out a cool show on YouTube that'll help you get ready for the fantasy football season,
check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network. You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
Get you right. Enjoy the show.
And I'm getting down cause I run my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I run my sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I run my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I get.
Hey, what up, YouTube? Welcome back to another mock draft on a Tuesday. What? Yeah. Let's get it. We've got a special guest for a kind of random middle of the week. Let's ramp back up a little bit of coverage. My brain is just spending Dynasty Land for a long time. It still likes to live there. It's a good place. But we also had our brain into Scott Fishbowl, which was a blast, still going on now. But we gotta get back to redraft. So got a special guest with us today, a good buddy of mine. I was in a league and barely knew him for I think almost 2 years, and then Scott Fish kind of happened, and we both went to Chicago and did this awesome live draft thing. And well, I won't spoil anything, but you got some fun football stuff going on. But welcome to the show, Mr. John Hammersmith. How you doing, man? What's going on?
Doing great. Thank you so much. Really excited to be on. Yeah, it was my first ever Scott Fishbowl. We got to get out there to Chicago. What a live event. What a roster or a scoring and all that. It is a unique experience. But to kind of get back into the flow of things and get out of Dynasty, it was a good transition for us now to be able to kind of think about the real season and getting the championships, right?
Yeah. I mean, I always call, the old school, I say old school because now we got the best ball bros. We got all the formats. We got charity tournaments going crazy, which is awesome. Absolutely love what's going on with all that stuff. But for me, the Cadillac of fantasy football, the Texas Hold'em of fantasy football, it is definitely the redraft streets. All right. This is where it is. Who's going to read the board a little bit better. So without further ado, we got some drafters in the room. They are ready to go. They've been ready to go for about 5 minutes. Before we get into them, just for the folks that don't exactly know, John, who you are, you started to do a little bit of work for a little fantasy company that I think we all know and love. What are you doing in the fantasy streets in case people have to pop off midstream, won't have a chance to see the outro? What do you got going on? Where can they check you out? What are you doing?
Sure. So I'm producing some stuff right now with Dynasty Nerds. Right now I'm doing a weekly grade the trade article for them. So articles that are submitted on Reddit, I'm reviewing the trades, and we are kind of including them in a cool little segment that we got going on each week. And then right now there's also a monthly newsletter where we're talking more Dynasty again, Dynasty Nerds, but really on what you should be doing each month with your team, kind of looking at the whether you're rebuilding, contending, what are the microtransactions that you could be making rather than just everyone always wants to make the blockbusters, but it's the small deals in Dynasty that usually get to where you want as opposed to the big deals that everyone always talks about.
All right. I could not agree more. We've got a bearded show here today. I just now realized that is a full thing. So yeah. All right.
Well, wild.
Let's get into some drafts. By the way, for all you guys listening and watching, we are going to do 30-second pick clock. It's going to go pretty fast, but we are going to pause on John and I's picks just to talk through the thought process a little bit, try to give a little bit of our takes, how we'd play the board a little bit. We won't hold it up too much, but we do want to give you our best, most thorough. Here's how we do it. See if you agree, disagree. If you got some hot takes, pop them in the comments. Let's argue a little bit. And all right, let's get this draft started. 3, 2, 1. Mr. Aiden White in my leagues, kicking us off with Jamar Chase. I love it. We're off to the races. Here we go. Draft this year. I'm at 4. What do you have a pick spot? Do you like early, mid, late, kind of in the first 2 rounds spot that's been speaking to you in a particular way?
In one quarterback redraft, the game has changed so much from where it used to be the running backs dominated to a lot of the 0 running back strategy. So really where you're on the board is less important to me, kind of is more the strategy I'm going in with, the kind of the ADP that I'm looking at. So Gibbs, that's exactly the type of player that I'm looking to grab at that period of time.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a my guy. When it's close in my early mocks, if it's close, I'm just rolling with the my guys because I got to know how it feels a little bit, and then we'll refine it as we get into it a little bit. I didn't pause in either of our first round picks, by the way. Don't think it probably hurt us too bad, but talk me through. I love the Neighbors pick. Who was in contention there? Is Neighbors leaping a couple of the guys early in the board? How'd you go about that one?
So once again, format, always know your format, always know your scoring settings. So we're in a PPR format with 3 quarterbacks, start 9. What I need to do here is I really want to load up on my wide receivers before they go blank. So when I'm looking here at Malik Neighbors, Brian Johnson, those are the guys. If this was 2 wide receivers, I might have gone a Derrick Henry, but with this format, I'm going to the wide receiver.
Okay, with the three wide receiver format in particular, you like locking up one a little bit early. How do you feel about are you diving into the 0 RB streets at all? Is that something you have traditionally done? You feel anything about it this year, the way you're reading the board?
I think there's been a resurgence in the running backs, and there's a lot of these rookie running backs too that have added in there that I like their roles. Once again, PPR boosts a guy like Travion Henderson. So he gets more value in a setting like this. I think there's enough guys to a certain point, but I wouldn't want to go 0 RB because then that's when, to me, 0 RB is you're picking in the dead zone. And I think once you get into that dead zone, then you've given up your first 4 rounds with no RBs, you're in some trouble.
Yep. So more of a don't love the 0 RB, but maybe a little hero RB that got quite popular, I think, 2 years ago, and I think it's kind of where a lot of the comfort is. I was wondering if some folks would find the and hopefully that auto doesn't mess us up too much, but pretty chalky to start us off a little bit. I will pause when it comes to you. Very curious. Oh, and then the guy I would have thought about a little bit there. So talk us through, John. What's the decision here? Wide receiver in first round. What are you doing?
Coming back, I would say that would say my double snipe right there with Genty and McCaffrey. Definitely people I was considering. So with them gone, I'm going back to a wide receiver. I'm going back and kind of staying with that position. Knowing that I don't want to go 0 RB, but I just lost my chance of value. I'm not going to give up that value to go to Bucky or Jacobs over a London for me.
So we're going to go ahead and go with Mr. Drake London. Tier break for you. So we're in on London this year.
Yeah, I really I don't think the Penix end of the season train is going to end. I think there's a connection there. I like what's going on. I think there's that little bit of that Rome Odunze type feel, if you will, with them. He's a big wide receiver. He moves well, and they look well together.
I like it. So Bucky wasn't in contention for you. Do you have kind of a Bucky take? Are you fading him a little bit, or is it just that London is pretty special and maybe London belongs closer to the first round over there for you?
Yeah, I think if London wasn't there, if I was left with a Bowers decision or Bucky, I love Bowers, but I think I might have gone to Bucky at that point. But there's still some concerns. I think that there's an offense there that it's going to be high volume, it's going to be high passing, and I'm not convinced that Bucky is a 250 or 300 touch guy, and that can limit his ceiling.
Fair enough. You should not pause with 1 second on the clock, by the way. I should pause it a little bit earlier. So I'm probably going to end up with Jacobs here. We'll change it. Interesting spot in the draft for me. Not going to hold it up too much. Just want to kind of throw out, this is really an interesting place of running back or tight end or wide receiver, I am seriously considering. I am super big on Garrett Wilson. I almost want to reach for him here at this point, but I'm serious. I like the late tight ends too much to ever go with an early tight end. So McBride's actually really not on my board here because it eliminates me from taking the late value. I'm definitely going not great or late. I'm just going late this year. So it's really the running back or the wide receiver. I'm going to play the ADP game a little bit, and I'm going to lock up what I think is a slightly underrated running back this year in Jonathan Taylor. Or we'll just take Josh Allen, and then we're going to go and change to Jonathan Taylor. So there we go. I feel like the JT love has fallen away in a way that's just not. I don't think it's warranted. I know the team doesn't look quite as good. It's got a lot of nastiness to it, but outside of injury, I just saw down the stretch, Jonathan Taylor looked like the best spot on the team. It looked like they didn't have a competent passing offense, so loading the box still didn't do anything to his insane yards per carry metrics. I know he had sort of a fluky, like it was a bad RB1 year when he had it. His overall total fantasy points wasn't exactly like league winning crazy. But I still think he's just an insanely talented running back. I think we saw from the NFL last year's running still matters. Keeping games close is going to matter for the Colts. I actually like their wide receiver core better than most. I think their offense doesn't have to be incompetent. In fact, they just found ways to make it bad, but it didn't always have to be with the skill positions on the field. They got a tight end who could have a McBride, but a year early. So I like the upside of JT even without catching passes. I think he could possibly look pretty close to what Derrick Henry is doing in terms of 22, 25 carries per game, 5.5 yards per carry, and really have like a comfortable like RB 5 through 8 finish. I could absolutely see that happening.
I love Jonathan Taylor. I agree. I think he's underrated. We got a lot of fatigue with him. He's been around too long. That happens with a lot of these running backs. It started happening with Barkley, starts happening with Henry. Even once they start getting to this age, 26, 27, people start wanting them to not be as good. But I love it. When I said Bucky's not going to get 250 to 300 carries, Jonathan Taylor will get 250 to 300 carries,
I at least hope so. And then just rounding out the pick here, I didn't want to pause the clock. Wanted to keep it running a little bit, but I can just kind of talk you through. It was pretty close. I was going to fade Tyreek Hill. I think he could potentially be a value here in the third, though. Maybe. I'm going to buy the dip on Brees. I tend to be in on Fields. I tend to be in on Brees' talent, and I buy that Aaron Rodgers was saying the running game made no sense. I think he's in for a bounce back, and I also think in a lot of positive regression in the pass catching, even with a rushing quarterback. I'm pretty in on Wilson. I guess I'm kind of in on the Jets, and so becoming a little bit of a my guy homer pick here, and I'll pause the clock when I want to talk thoughts. But that was the Brees pick. Probably would have been Marv, since I would not be going a tight end at that position, and I just don't. I can't project Marv quite as well as I can Brees for a legendary season. Talk me through the pick here.
Man, I love it because it's got me in a position now to really scramble. Brees was definitely a guy I like to target in the third round. You see him kind of falling around there. 3.8 is probably a little aggressive to hope for. But unfortunately, with him not there, it leaves me in a position of grabbing the tight end. I'm going to go with McBride because I feel he's unique. And truly, him and Bowers, I've heard the Spider-Man, I feel like that. They are the same dude. They are incredibly athletic. They're going to go out there and command 120 plus targets and basically be a wide receiver in a PPR format. So I will take McBride and
gotta love that
0 RB.
Gotta love that value. I feel like he normally goes a little bit earlier. So someone's got to take the following value. Make sure to make that pick though, my friend there.
My bad.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have the two show host auto picking. Me and Mike have done that plenty of times on the drink and chill, but drink some more stream for sure. But yeah, I don't like McBride in the second. I just feel like you're reaching a little too much. Like I feel like tight ends got really popular all of a sudden. I feel like it's time to slow it down a little bit. The regression comes from us all. The position hasn't historically been amazing, but that feels pretty good at that spot. Going back here, Aiden, my bad, man. Wishing I held the Wilson comment. Loves himself some Fields spamming that first read. I definitely agree here on the spamming the first read. I do think Garrett Wilson is quite a bit better than DJ Moore. He's faster. He's better at creating natural separation, even against good defenses. I like that a lot. And I like the ability to, I think when Fields is able to move around in the pocket a little bit, I think Wilson will just find ways to still be open. So I'm kind of with you on that one. And kind of what we were just talking about there with Wilson is just one of the best wide receiver prospects I've ever seen. And I feel like the level of disrespect on his prospect profile, given that his situation has been bad for so long. It's funny to compare DJ Moore actually to him, because DJ Moore also got buried for years with bad quarterback play. And, finally, maybe I think he could have his best season of his career this year. So we'll have to see. How do you see the, before you're up, quick take, how do you see the Jets offense in general playing out? Who you hot on, or you out on all of them?
I just put something together today that I wrote on the Lux Dynasty, my website, but it is talking about Wilson, and it's really talking about how, a lot of people are sleeping on him. And you look at the market right now, people aren't paying for him what they're paying for a lot of other people. He's going to get a lot of targets. I said he's not only the first read, he's the second read. And right now, until we really know who that second person is, he's got a huge floor and a huge connection. So they're going to utilize him, I think, a little more creatively than they had been in the past, especially when you look at his route tree. I want to say like 50% of it is goes and slants. So it's a lot of room for improvement for him.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit, and I'm pretty invested in the whole offense as well. So it would be nice. I invested in Brees. I bought Brees too high, then I bought him low, then I bought Fields, and I already own Garrett Wilson everywhere. So I also win a lot of money if the Jets are good. So naturally, you just might as well make them all my guys, right? It just kind of makes some sense. But if you want, definitely, you're about to be on the clock here. Let me just bring up I think a pretty astute comment from Ethan here. He was debating McBride. Ethan, where were you? I think you're EPST. Yeah, you were over there. 3-6. He was considering. I'll pause so you can kind of talk through this a little bit, but thought it was pretty interesting. Ethan, we're gonna get your comment after you talk through this pick a little bit, because I think that's a pretty good comment. What are we thinking here in 4?
So right here, if round 4. I am thinking I'm looking at the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are sticking out. I told you I don't want a 0 RB strategy, but I'm not happy with any of these RBs here. And it kind of is pushing me into that format. So I'm going to grab another one. And I'm going to grab Josh Allen, because that offense is about as murky as can be in all the skill positions. But he's the man who drives that engine, and he's going to, I'm really excited to see what he's going to do again this year. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Josh.
Love it. All right. So we said we were not going to go 0 RB, and the streamers curse.
0 RB.
It will happen. It will happen. I mean, value on McBride. I feel like we have to. I think most would probably consider Allen you have to call him, I think, a value. If not a value, he's definitely not overvalued, right? It's never a bad pick once you get to the 4th round. There's no way to argue that. So fun to see how your build kind of plays out here with the elite onesies gone, right? So it narrows your range a little bit.
This is why we do the mocks, Kendall. This is
why
we do it.
You and Finns are going to be fighting for all the same players back and forth. So let's see how that goes. Yeah, I think you guys are the only 0 RB guys. Everyone else has at least one, so a little less competition. You're going to get sniped a little bit on the way back. He picks first next. Oh, I don't think I could have taken him, but that does feel like a little bit of a snipe here. Man, all right, we're going to talk through this one a little bit, chat. We're going to have to. First one I really got to talk through, okay? I like too many of the late quarterbacks, but Hurts is real tempting. I'm kind of off Jaden at this price. this year. I don't actually like the pass catching weapons as much, to be honest. And I feel like there's a chance he runs a little bit less because the overall competency of the team is just a little bit better in the way that Herbert didn't have to score a lot of points for the team to be good. I could kind of see that with Jaden just a little bit, enough that I'm not going to pay the price for him. Hurts, I still would. But if my whole thing is I want to outdraft everyone by finding value late at tight end and quarterback, I kind of just have to say no for the sake of practice. We're not going to do that route. So just going straight to the flex queue. Kittle, I think legitimately could finish as the tight end 1 this year. He has so many outcomes where he's just the number 1 pass catcher on the team. I seriously think there's a pretty big argument that he's just going to look like Kelsey out there and get massive volume. Have that sort of like he's actually just a top 10 wide receiver type of thing. So he's tempting, but I got to go against that. The Hampton pick was elite. I really like that a lot. Thankfully, he went, so now I don't have to think about that. I have found that my year to year, my best takes are always mid-round wide receivers that I think the stench of the offense or a situation rubs off on them in unfair ways. And so I'll take the guys, we're 55 to 60% right most of the time. Whenever the crowd thinks they're 80% right, I kind of want to zag back to some tried and true guys. And so right here, I'm seriously looking at DJ Moore and then some guys lower that I like quite a bit as well. But we're already kind of doing yeah, I mean, I look at my background. Like, if I have a chance to take DJ Moore at an okay cost, like I'm gonna do it. He's not necessarily tops in my rankings, but good enough that I like that he has a top 12 outcome, and he's not being drafted as such. So we're gonna go to DJ Moore here.
Love it, love it. I think he's gonna see a high usage this season. I like him redraft better than I do dynasty, but yeah, for I think he's going to see a lot of targets in this Ben Johnson offense.
Could not agree more. Man, I guess I got room to take one more running back. I'm still at that like, oh, I've got some guys that I like, but I can only take one more when we're not starting running back territory. So we'll see. That will be an interesting choice for me. Streamer's curse, but I'll throw it out there, man. I'm still pretty steamy on my boy RJ Harvey. Staring down at him still on the board a little bit. Travion's down there too.
I'm not as concerned about Dobbins. I think we've always seen kind of how these offenses are run. He runs multiple backs. They're both going to see a ton of carries, but Harvey I still think is just too explosive not to see more than Dobbins.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And I just think it's one of those situations where his snap share might be less than we want, but I think his usage, giving the ambiguous wide receiver room and the fact that half the wide receivers are all 9, go route guys, I see a lot of like, he could be Kamara with less snaps, but just as lethal with what he does with it. So,
Yep.
And he's still on the board over here. I should probably take a wide receiver just to stay a little bit more balanced, not put myself into a weird situation. What if I get falling value elsewhere? So I'm going to go with, I'm just going to pause real quickly so I can kind of talk through, since someone's going to snipe someone off this take for sure. So here's the decision. The decision really comes down to, I like Flowers and Worthy. I'm ahead of market on them. I'm not sure I want to be this ahead of market on them. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to look for just the most elite upside I can. I feel like those guys are a little capped. I'm playing for first, not second. So I want to go a little bit crazy here. And I think I'm going to do it. I'm really between Jamison Williams having the best year of his career, and I think the team will need to throw the ball deep and downfield more. Or I'm going to take the bigger plunge and just say, I think this guy's different. And you know what I'm going to do here. Yep. Yeah, we're going to do it.
Wow. Big.
Spicy. But honestly, I think if he's as good as he could be, I think it's just a shoe-in for 10 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, and probably like BTJ, maybe only 65 to 70 passes, but that is absolutely enough to get just outside of the top 12 wide receivers for sure. I put him up a vintage Mike Evans season, but in his rookie year, I could see it. So I don't know. And hey, if you're gonna do some mocks, if the picks are close, we're gonna go the spicy ones and see how we feel. And that one felt all right. So I don't know.
I see where you're going. I mean, you're going for the ceiling. I think Tet, if you're going to go for floor, you got Tet. Zay, like you said, it's kind of like you feel like you know what you got there. You really don't have a ceiling, but you're going for one. And if Hunter's him, well, then you've just got yourself a wide receiver one this late, So
all right, I'll give you some time to get through this pick a little bit here. Think about it a little bit. I'm going to bring up a couple chats here. Ethan tells me, John's, you got to give him some flowers on here. I guess you won the Superflex Dynasty Warriors this year. Is that a tournament you playing as well?
Congrats, Ethan. Definitely. Good work. I have to go review. 50 leagues is about, I think, where I'm at right now. But I'm familiar with each and every one of them. And that's a fun one.
I love it. Hey, quick talk through your pick here. Let's get this going. And John, also, we got some questions over here. John wants to know how Scottfish Lives went. So we got enough time. We'll have to get to that here. What are we thinking on this pick?
Well, so I'm kind of at a point, you start backing yourself against the wall. I do believe I'm going to go with who we just talked about, RJ Harvey, who fell down to me, because I think he has an RB1 ceiling. There's a path for him to get there. I don't want to there's really nobody else that I can see going down here that has that same ceiling, including an Aaron Jones so that's who I'll be taking.
Love it.
RJ
I mean, if your first RB off the board is RJ Harvey, and what some might consider the RB dead zone, it changes year to year. I don't think we can call this the dead zone, but usually Connor and Monty for sure were in what you'd call the dead zone last year. Seeing Harvey after that, when you went technically an accidental 0 RB, has to feel fantastic. That's elite onesies, and then you get to pick up RJ. That feels really, really nice. I'm liking your build quite a bit. But for the fans, let's throw in for the fans. Rafi, I'm gonna get to you in a second, my guy. I see you in there. But to John, and John's drafting with us. He's JWN71. You and him are neck and neck, gonna snipe each other all darn day. I don't know. I thought Chicago Lives was one of the most fun days I've had, even according to like Scott and some of the guys that were there that do a lot of the different events. They said this was, not putting shade on other events. They said this was one of the most, everyone really did network and hang and grab a drink with each other. And the draft was important, but so was the camaraderie and whatnot. So I had an absolute blast. It was a pretty good time. John, let's make a quick pick here, and then I won't even pause. I'll just make my pick. I would love to get your take on who you met, what was fun. It was a first experience for you, obviously myself as well. I was so happy that we could get you in. That was really cool. Big shout out John Bosch for helping me get 3 of my league mates in to Chicago Lives this year. It was a real treat, real special treat. So I appreciate that quite a bit. Swift off the board. Wow, I should try 0 RB more this year. That feels really good. I love that start. But talk to us a little bit. How did you enjoy the Lives this year? How was the experience for you?
It was live drafts are what it's all about. When you do live drafts in fantasy, it's amazing. The Scott Fish Bowl is just a different beast. I mean, there's the auctions, there's the people hearing the stories of how many fish or how many bowls people been to, how they've gotten in there, how many years that they waited to get in there. So once again, Kendall, hearing people tell me that and knowing that you got me this year that way, that felt so grateful. Got to sit and talk with Scott Fish himself and just how he got started in this, and just a great human and good the word I'm looking for, but a really good champion for our industry. Definitely.
Love to hear it. Yeah, it was such an amazing time. I just, super cool. Who was give me a name shout out to. What was a new person you met that maybe you didn't know you'd be networking with, or cool that was kind of unexpected?
Well, so there's a gentleman in my league, Dave. He really he doesn't write. He's not really part of the industry like this, but he's in another way. People who's like 250 leagues. and one of these people who we started talking and connecting with because of what fantasy and what the dynasty community has done for him as far as being somebody who he's kind of works with a lot of charities. He works with a lot of like flag football groups. He works with a lot of like intramural sports and kids sports. And that's something that's important to me. So meeting somebody like that, who is also engaging in the community, not just in fantasy, but finding ways to get the kids and community involved outside of that as well, with football or other activities. That was another cool thing, just kind of looking outside of the game that we play.
Absolutely love it. All right, I'm not even going to pause the clock here. This is just we're going to go with a flag planter here for sure. It kind of goes with my correlation. This is maybe the most mispriced wide receiver on the board for me this year. I love that he's buried in ADP. Give me some Josh Downs, dude. Absolutely, give me some Josh Downs. Easily going to finish as top 24 wide receiver this year, maybe more. Oh my goodness. If we're that spiced up about Rashee Rice, but we're kind of like Mahomes is okay. Dude, I know the quarterback play is nowhere near, but man, Downs is like a little Rashee Rice, man. He's just nasty with the ball. If you saw some of his highlights last year too, Downs is actually kind of nice, man. Like he lays out for the ball. One of my favorite. I'm getting a jersey. It's going on the board. If I wasn't a Bears fan, and like, why are the Colts and Bears not in the same division? By the way, it makes absolutely no sense to me. Can we fix this NFC North? All right, we gotta. We'll set up a Canadian League. We should just add a fifth because honestly, everyone in the division makes sense, but we do need to add Indy. Okay, with this
it used to be like that. It used to be all weird with the three with Tampa Bay. They. But come on, let's get back to some common sense divisions, please.
I am with you on that. After you take, we'll get to Rafi and Aiden's question here, but I'll pause the clock. Talk me through the thoughts. Where are we at? I feel like the earlier picks are kind of easy. This is where the takes have to happen, and you got to start defending some stuff. And even for me, I got to be honest. I didn't even get to mine, but I wanted Hurts so bad at 6'9", and then the run happened where jaded at Hurts went. Burrow for me is the type of I can't call later quarterbacks like Burrow light and then go and draft Joe Burrow. It doesn't really work on the take. So I do like Burrow a lot at 6'10" right there. Doc Watson, just heads up. But I can't. I have to figure it out. So that was almost.
Okay.
Honestly, I hate how that whole felt. Like I have these players that I like, but the picks around mine were just better. Hate when that happens, but is what it is. But Lux. Talk me through. We started 0 RB. We went the elite onesies. RJ Harvey fell into your lap in a fantastic fashion. Got to feel great about Swift being maybe not a dynasty darling, but he should be pretty phenomenal this year. What are we thinking now that you've got a balanced team?
So I'm looking at the wide receivers. Players like Addison stick out to me. Even a player like Jennings. But I'm stuck on this running back, and I'm going to get grief for it. I get a lot of grief for it anywhere. But I'm going to go with Tyrone Tracy. I know Cam Scatterbo came in. I know he can catch passes. He is just not the same level of athlete that he is. And really, the only other person I think on that team Robinson's good, but Wendell. But I want other than Neighbors, Tracy's the guy I think is going to be the big play guy. And Scatterbo will be touched. He will see carries, but Tracy's not leaving that offense. And I'm loving him at this point. And I think people are going to be surprised with the value that he's going to return because Cam's got him scared off.
Let me ask you a qualifying question. What take do you think is more accurate to how you feel like the upside could play out or will play out, right? Do you think it's – because I've seen this a lot in the best ball streets, even in SBF or SFP, is that everyone buried the Giants, but what if they're actually like low-key good because the D-line's better, the offense actually has some weapons on it? Do you think an elevated offense kind of lifts all ships in the harbor and he's probably the incumbent in a good offense that can kind of make things happen? Even if he loses work, it's still a good holistic system. Or do you just see that even if he loses some low-value and fantasy touches, he'll still be capable of explosive plays and pass catching? Which take do you think is a little bit better? Is he good? Can he be good on a bad team, or is he just lifted by the team being better than people think? Maybe a combination.
Well, yeah, I think if you're talking about garbage time. I know there's some studies about there that say it's not as valuable as we think it is. But ultimately, I think whether it's a bad team or good team, he's still going to be the third. Like, he's going to still be a lot of those guys catching the passes. The man was a former wide receiver. Not saying Scattable's not good, but he will be used at short yardage. He catch the ball. I think when you're down playing from behind, you're going for somebody for an explosive play. If you're down 2 scores, they're playing defense. It's a good question. It's a good qualifying question, because if they start slowing the game down, will those carries go to Cam? And then that could be the scary point, and maybe that's why he's fallen down here versus how he did last year. You're not getting him in the 4th round, 5th round if they didn't draft Cam.
I like it. I mean, he is a converted wide receiver. He was new to the position. You know, can he figure it out in ways that folks that have gone before him and done that haven't quite put it together? But I think he showed enough. It could be a spicy pick. Love that Igbuka pick by the way at 8-4. One of my favorite picks. I think he's secretly wide receiver 2 on that team. Just gonna low key throw that out. Lux, talk me through the pick. But hey, real quick, shout out our boy Wilson. How we doing, my guy? Such a good advocate for the fantasy community. Always a pleasant face to see in the FF streets on X, and just an all-around good dude. Wilson had a lot of folks at Scott Fish that knew your name and whatnot over in Chicago. So appreciate you being here, my guy. Love it. Lux, we went with the spicy Tracy pick. It was a sea of blue. Where are we at now? I'm guessing half your queue just got eaten up by all the blue going away.
Yeah, but I'm not concerned because the one I like is there. So I'm going to go with Ricky Pearsall. I'm going to go with once again, we're talking about a murky offense where it could be Kittle, it could be Jennings, it could be Pearsall. But you look at what that guy did, a 1st-round draft pick. He fits the scheme. And this year he's got a full off season, hopefully healthy. Unlike last one.
I almost considered him at the Downs pick. I have him in a similar tier, to be honest. Yeah. That was nice. Good value. Mahomes at 8-6 too. That's got the triple stack with Rice and Checo. That's got some fun upside built in there. I like that a lot. Before I got to get to my pick, we got to get a quick take for Rafi over here. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers will super target DK Metcalf, and if nothing else, will he put up Puka-like numbers? Lots of catches, good yards, maybe not enough touchdowns with some negative regression there. I don't know. What do we think? I'll think through and just pick something here. But what do we think about Rodgers super targeting DK? What do we think about DK's outcomes and range of outcomes over there?
I am thinking back to Rodgers, Jordy Nelson. I've heard a lot of people trying to talk about Devontae Adams. DK Metcalf is not the route runner that Devontae Adams is, but he can run routes like Jordy Nelson. So that's the type of rapport that I want to see. I want to see those back shoulder fades along the sidelines. I want to see all that sort of the quick slants, get him the ball quick and allow DK to be DK. And if that happens in this type of offense, I think there's a big success, especially because we know that Rodgers likes to check off of run plays and go to checkdowns. And if they have a quick slant play, those quick shoulder pads, back shoulder catches, I think there's a big chance this year for a big year for DK, for Aaron.
Love that. I know it's like the fun pick to fade a little bit, right? It's like there's an easy he's tied to Rodgers. It's kind of like the indie pass catchers where you're just like, oh, it's always going to be terrible, but someone has to catch the ball. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, if nothing else, is a savvy enough veteran to figure out how to get a physical specimen like DK the ball, where I think a lot of folks wouldn't be able to figure it out, like that Warren pick. I was seriously in consideration there, to be honest with you. I know I'm trying to talk takes here, but I'm like, who do I pick?
No, I agree. Because he's even someone back down. Just like we're talking about this offense right now, though. This offense is going to use Warren significantly. 200 and some touches, lock it in between catches and rushes.
I'm trying to look at the board here, see who has tight ends a little bit. So I'm needing one. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people looking to grab tight end here at some point in time. Can I fade it more? Do I like later tight ends? The answer might be yes. We're gonna pause so I don't auto draft. We'll quick talk through this one, guys. We won't get crazy. I haven't even looked at quarterback in like a long time. Do I finally look here at some point? Maybe. No, we're still too early. All right.
I feel quarterback is there's just so many of them.
I mean, Kyler's interesting, but I kind of just don't like him, so we're probably just not going to do it. I don't really want to take tight end yet, knowing I like the tight end 15 just fine. This is actually an interesting one. I think there's a tier break at running back here to where people, after this, it's kind of 0 RB targets. I'm going to grab one of my last favorite. I think this has legitimate upside, because he's going to go. This is a better version of Garendo that goes in a similar range. We're going to go ahead and give me some Mason. Give me some Jordan Mason here. I also low key think he's probably going to have like 8 to 10 touchdowns. Yeah, I like that quite a bit to round out. Give me a little bit of upside built in. I don't need any running backs ever, but I think this rounds out that room a little bit.
They did not trade for him to come over, and they do not want to give Aaron Jones 300 plus touches again. They do not want to do that. And what's Mason going to do? He's going to take those goal line touchdowns, like you said. That's where they want him coming in, and he will get a lot of that, the grinding the yard games at the end. He'll get a lot in between the 20s. So, but when he has those spike weeks, you're going to have some 80-yard 2 touchdown games.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Hey, Hawkinson seems to be falling more and more. Lou, I don't know. My take on this one real quick, because I have one, is he's falling more and more because I think people have settled into like there's just this range of tight ends that all feel like, if the next one goes, the next one goes, it's still okay. It's still okay. So there's like a full 2 rounds where you can just wait and wait and wait, where you can literally wait till it comes back to you and then still wait. So it just feels like you could tear up. Oh, did we get you auto? Is that who you want? You want Golden?
Oh, oops.
Well,
that was an accident, but that's okay. I was going to take.
Who do you want there? Let's go.
I was going to take. Sorry. I want Luther Burden.
Luther Burden. All right. Well, you're back on the clock. Go grab yourself some Luther Burden. Take yourself off auto. Go grab yourself some Luther Burden. Okay, I will grab you some Luther Burden. We'll get there. Burden, where are you? Chat, do what you got to do, chat. You got to roast me up. Sorry, Mr. The Implication. We got there in the end. I'm awful at production. I will own that one. It is what it is. But I promise we're trying to keep moving. I want to keep his draft integrity going here though. With the Burden pick, looks like it worked out okay. He's not getting sniped with Ninja.
Yeah, thank you.
So that works out quite well. Give me a Luther Burden take. Hey, I got DJ Moore. I'm big on Rome. Give me some Luther Burden take.
He's a player who, this is just a long shot expectation. I probably could wait on this, but this is a player whose ceiling's just too high. I think if he hits that Amon roll and he does take over from DJ, if there's something that goes on here, this is such a wild card. The ceiling's too high. But I'm kind of grabbing him here as some Chicago homerism. I probably could have grabbed a lot more players, but no, this is a guy whose ceiling I had as wide receiver 2 when I started my whole rookie review. And it wasn't really until later that I got some down on some traits, but I like the system, and I think he can get coached up to be something special.
I like it. Well, you're back on the clock. Let's see what we got here. So you had this nice little 0 RB, but then we grabbed some guys. It looked like you liked everyone that you picked. Tracy was spicy, but definitely could have gone another direction. So you're pretty in on him. Two young picks. We're dynasty heads. That feels good. Built-in upside. Really in on the Pearsall pick, and I can't agree. I mean, the Burden 5-star prospect out of high school. What do we want to do here? You're perfectly balanced. You can go any way you want to. What are we thinking?
Well, I'm going with another running back who I think is basically an injury away here from a Trey Benson. So another running back down here who I'm really, when I look at running backs like that, I want somebody who I see the easy path on an offense that's going to be great. And he can catch the ball. He's kind of like probably he's not as good as Connor, but I think he's maybe a little more explosive in the long run, and can kind of operate in the same every down back capacity there for them.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, he should have a bigger role, if nothing else. They didn't add anyone to the pass catching room, so I think there's definitely some upside there. Love that pick, Jaden Higgins. Okay, I've got to make some picks here. I have to take quarterback at some point. I will soon. Won't take it here with 3 guys to the left of me all having a quarterback. I don't think they're going to double dip. I don't think they need to by any means, even going slightly late. Those are great quarterbacks. I love everything about my team. I mean, I still need to round out with tight end, but unfortunately, I definitely did myself a disservice. Mason pick definitely was a mistake. I thought I would play the fun game, and then 5 tight ends went off before my next pick. I figured 2 or 3 would go, and people would play the game, and I would get to end the game on the way back. So absolutely punted that one. All good. I might take 2 late and see what I still have 3 targets later that I like. So perfectly fine with it. Probably missed out though. I gotta say, Njoku and Kraft. And potentially setting up like a Chicago stack with Loveland, although I don't want Loveland and DJ Moore. For sure, Kraft is ridiculously high up my board, so that was a little bit disappointing. Looking at the board here, I think Pittman is a little bit underpriced. I'm just kind of looking for value at this point. I kind of have to make my next 3 picks with 1 pick here. There are definitely some guys when you reach down the board that are spicy in various pockets. I think we'll all probably be looking at the same group of guys. I'm going to have to get a little bit spicy and snipe some folks. Ayuk went to. Man, you guys are really putting it to me. So this one's probably between Sharbs as an upside pick, or I'm going to take Pittman. Yeah, we're gonna do the Indy stack. We're gonna grab Pittman. And then we're just going to be set forever at wide receiver.
Crazy how he's fallen over these since he got that contract.
Yeah, I think the injury thing is what really got people to bury him, because the team was gross and then he was injured. But I feel like he has never been a bad NFL player when he's on the field and healthy. Right. And one of my favorite ways to play the game is if a player is down because of injury, and there isn't just a ridiculous amount of correlation to him definitely being injured again. That's a type of player I want to be in on, especially if the stench of the offense is bringing everyone down a little bit. I think it could be a little bit better. I think their defense is atrocious. I think their division has gotten a little bit better. Much like the NFC North was bad offensively until it wasn't. I think they'll probably do something a little bit better there. I'm super in on the Colts with Taylor, Downs, and Pittman over here. But absolutely, by the way, I'll just give it up. I'm going to take Anthony Richardson with the last pick in this draft. And if he finishes as like a top 6 quarterback, like, you don't want that noise. Probably won't happen, boys and girls, but I do like the outside shot here. Who has
obviously getting him here versus what people are paying in the 3rd and 4th round last year?
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're just gonna complete the stack. Let's go get it. Let's go get the DJ Caleb. Make it happen. Yeah, I had some stacking options here for sure. I don't mind a sunshine over on Jacksonville. I think he'll use his legs a little bit more over there. So he's kind of one of my favorite QB2s in Superflex, actually. Mr. Long Golden Locks over there. But happy to get Caleb. I legitimately believe that it's a risky pick. I probably won't. There's probably a lot of times where you'll draft Caleb and just have to stream a better player. Like that's in the range of outcomes, but I think I'm up to embrace the variance of if he uses his legs effectively, and I think Ben does want him to do that. I think his upside is like he's going to be a better Kyler, a better, taller Kyler with better weapons. And when Kyler was really running as much, I don't think Caleb is the same as Kyler in terms of his running capabilities, but I'll pause the clock for you so you can kind of take a second here. I absolutely don't see why like a top 6-7 QB, which is where Kyler has kind of finished several times, I think, at this point. I don't see why that isn't in the range of outcomes for an NFC North that requires points to be put up with Ben Johnson. And the Bears have always had talented teams held back by bad coaching. I really think that even if he doesn't fully break out, I mean, he's probably going to be a top 12 quarterback. It's so hard to project him outside of that with his legs. Like Drake May on a terrible team with no O-line whatsoever. He's now like the talk of the town. Caleb is a better prospect. We knew that, right? And I think under the right tutelage, he should be a better version of Drake May in some of those cases. So anyway, I'll get off Caleb for a little bit here. What do you want to do here?
So, but when you hear the stories about how he wasn't getting any help in the film room, like there's things like this that it just, people who play the game will tell you you need that coaching. So yeah, I think there's going to be a big upside. At least he's got a chance now.
I like it. What are we doing here with the pick?
I know we just brought up Drake May, but I'm looking at Kyle Williams. I'm looking at Marvin Mims. I'm looking at these wide receivers, which I think are Mims has flashed. Mims has showed so much. And I think Kyle Williams too is a person that most people did not see him flying up the boards like he did and get drafted third round. But this is an individual that has a chance to be the number one for that team. But I'm gonna go Marvin Mims. I feel he's been underutilized, and he can really truly be a star in that Denver offense. As we said, they're still looking for those. They're looking for those wide receivers in that room. They don't really know who they are. But Mims is definitely a talented player and has shown he can have some big games already.
Indeed. Johnson, quarterback value feels great this year. Could not agree more, man. I also feel like people are more willing to go late quarterback. So it's good because I think that mid range of quarterbacks is stronger because their offenses all got a lot stronger and we're fine drafting them late. So it's kind of a perfect storm. I mean, look, Dak just went. Dak is a historic top 10 quarterback. He just got a better weapon. I don't see a way I'm not going late quarterback this year. Completely agree. See, Rafi talking about your Benson. Yeah. And I kind of agree. I feel like Benson didn't pass the eye test all the time. I think we're kind of going on opportunity there a little bit. Where do you see Benson getting involved more? Do you think some explosive plays on third down, or do you just think he'll be more acclimated to the NFL and have to, probably a little bit more removed from some of the injury woes that kept him less physical as well?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of those things. He did have some knee injuries and stuff, and even when he first was coming in, I believe he came off of like a cleanup or some surgery early on. And then once again, Connor he's a vet's vet, and he's not going to leave the field, and he doesn't make mistakes. To your point, when Benson he only had a couple plays where I think he flashed, and for the most part, I would say it was the opposite of flashing, like you were saying. It was kind of just like, ugh. I'm leaning towards what I saw in film before that, what I saw at Florida State, what I liked with him being drafted, and then the fact that in that room, there's not a whole lot below there after him.
Yeah.
Connor.
Yeah, it's a team that should want to run the ball a lot if they can too. So should be interesting. Man, quarterback value is kind of spicy, man. I'd literally forgotten that Drake May was still on the board. At 12-3, we got Kyler and Drake in the 12. I don't think this is probably as realistic as a lot of live drafts will go. This is just like a really strong mock draft lobby where all these guys draft a ton, and so we're all going to outweight each other because we can and will. I think in more real life drafts, you see quarterbacks tend to go a full round above where we mock them at, if not more. But I like it. I think if you're going to pass and go late quarterback in real life, you got to do it a lot in the mock streets. And you got to see your draft has to go 6 ways wrong after you've done it and still do it again and be like, oh, it doesn't always go bad. Actually, it can work out just fine. Jack Beck, nice pick. I should probably start taking some tight ends here. Huh? I might have to just run 3 in a row here. The crazy thing is I probably should still play the ADP game more, but I don't think I can afford to anymore. No, we're gonna start taking tight ends. We're gonna start. All right, we're gonna start with the maybe a trade still happens. Let's go with some upside. Let's go with some crazy upside. Could be absolutely nothing, but I like the possibility. And whenever I'm going this route where I'm fully punting tight end too, my plan is to definitely draft 2 that have some upside and go from there. And I might stream the tight end position all year. So we'll go from there. But this is definitely the example of I did not need Mason, and I definitely shouldn't have played that game because Sharp's on the way back, or Dobbins, or Garendo literally the next round. I was talking about Mason's better Garendo, and Garendo went 2 rounds later. So it looks like a lot of people like late tight end. And if a lot of people like late tight end, we're all going to have similar targets. So that was the mini redraft lesson for me today is I think everyone's on late quarterback and everyone's on late tight end, which means you have to start the run, not end it. Because when you end it, you're playing a little bit too risky, and you'll probably still create the value by creating the run. I think at least. Let's go with another tight end here. I'm really between. It's funny because Likely is my upside pick, but I think he finishes lower than both of these tight ends. This is interesting. This is also hedging against one of my other picks a little bit, which maybe I don't want to do. Maybe I want to go full balls to the walls value here, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and take the rip on Mike Gesicki. I really like that. I like all the offensive players in Cincinnati because it should be a historically terrible defense. When I ran some numbers on Gesicki, he had a very low snap share, but he was clearly there to catch passes. He had a less than 50% snap share, but still did just fine. I just need a snap share to go from where it was to in the mid 60s. Even just 60% would be like a 15% increase in snap share, which should lead to something. T. Higgins has not had the bill of health for all times. Even fragile little Chase Brown could potentially be injured, and just the running game could completely implode, and they'll have to run through the air. It was a phrase I like to use quite a bit. The Eagles did that with Dallas Goedert for a little bit when he had his best season. So Gesicki, one of my favorite late round, should just get it done a lot of times. And the upside is if T is injured, he's just the second pass catcher on that team, kind of tied with Chase Brown. In a savvy vet, the guy that I think could randomly catch all the touchdowns. You know what I mean? Just because he's available. But right before your pick, you took Kyle Pitts super, super late. He was potentially in consideration. Do you see an upside chance for him? I actually, like, for my sake, talk me through the Kyle Pitts this year volatility, and I'll pause so you can make another pick too.
I think I will say, though, for the first time, the more and more, I'm feeling worse about him than since he's been drafted. Just obviously a lot of the vibes have been some of the worst. But to your point, it's like, the upside, he's still 24 years old. We used to give tight ends 3 years really to click. Like, it used to take sometimes it's a difficult position. He's not really a tight end, let's be honest. Like, he's more this like wide receiver type, but who's not a perfect route runner. I don't know if he's been used properly. I think Penix gives him a chance. Having him here this late, I'll definitely throw the dart.
Love it. Hey, at least he's the second to last pick at this point. You know what I mean? It's one of those you can talk yourself through it. Who are you finishing the draft out with here?
So last pick here. My apologies.
I'll pause if I need to. Think through it.
Sleeping.
Good. I love Chipley and Jarquez Hunter. Those last 2 picks. Love the upside. The week 1 training camp injury or something like that. Definitely a possibility.
So one thing I absolutely love is ambiguous wide receiver rooms. So wide receiver rooms, offenses that I think are going to grow, and a guy like Pop Douglas over there in New England, I think is a guy who he's a good route runner. He's almost Downs-esque in the sense that he's hard. He's going to run hard. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's a good route runner. And if Drake May can take that step, if Pop can be one of those guys who I should say Tide is lifted with him.
Pop Douglas, I like it. I thought you were going to be between Pop and maybe Pat Bryant. Maybe double up on the Mims Bryant one will do something. But if you draft both, that means somehow neither will, right? That's that is
always there.
Yeah. Ooh, everyone with the great late picks, by the way. Just such a sharp. It's so much fun drafting with the community that we have here. They're just actual, just straight up gangster drafters. I mean,
Great
they're
drafters. Made it very tough.
it's leveled up my game, and like I went to Scott Fishbowl with a cell phone and was supremely confident that I was going to mess somebody up. Like I don't need any tech. I've done 100 mocks with these guys. All of them were very difficult. And all right, last pick of the draft. We're absolutely doing it because I actually need to find where he is in ADP. This is hilarious. I mean, this is hilarious. Do I actually do it? Because like I want to take Anthony Richardson for the upside, but I mean, just look at quarterback this year. I mean, it's free. It's actually free. There's Herbert, Purdy, CJ Stroud, JJ McCarthy. Yeah, you just can't do it. Good quarterbacks are free, and because they're actually free, you shouldn't draft one. If you can pick up Herbert, Purdy, Love, Stroud, and McCarthy from the waiver wire, I don't think I need to draft one. It's just free. This is the biggest proponent to like, don't draft a middling quarterback, right? I guess this might be like, not to pick on you, the implication, but like I loved the Dak pick. I really did. But I think we have to look and we have to seriously take a look and say, hey, Dak, we have like 5 quarterbacks that take for literally free. So, that's just interesting. I think it might be worth considering that you can just auto quarterback as your last pick in fantasy and still be fine this year. That might be in consideration for like a lot of drafts. That's pretty interesting. And with that, I have to make another pick. I really do. So I might as well grab like a 16th tight end here. I'm going to go with the Jets will be. I can either go with the Jets will be good or the Jacksonville will be good pick. I'm going to go with the rookie. I'm going to think hopefully his dad taught him a couple things. This is Jason Taylor's son, right? If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Mason Taylor, the triple tight end,
and Zach Thomas
in a non-tight end premium format. Yeah. Oh baby, Michael Wilson, Justice Hill. Who's the Mr. Irrelevant pick? Chat. Can we call it? Who's Aiden going with here? This might be the only community that would let Herbert go undrafted. This is a compliment. Yeah. Aiden, this is a ridiculous lobby of drafters. It always will. I love it so much. If you draft with us enough, your leagues will be on autopilot. Yeah, that happened. That just happened. Look at the quarterbacks left in the queue. It is outrageous. I love it. You guys are legends. This is insane. We're just past an hour. YouTube hates us, which means no one will probably watch this video. It's all good, but I don't want to keep everyone up too late. Again, just the guys that drafted with us, mad respect. I think we're gonna crush it in redraft this year with these drafts. So if you know folks, I guess I shouldn't say like come invite your friends, because no one here wants to invite their friends. They just want to beat their friends into a pulp. Totally get it. You know, bring your little brother, bring him out here, do the thing. John, well, this type of the show, we usually we don't break down all the rosters. Later in the season, we'll do more full roster breakdowns, or I'll be trying to do that if you post it in the Discord and are really, really nice. I will probably do some breakdowns because I can't stop myself from looking at it. But I look at a couple of either teams or not the full team if you can't. I mean, it's a lot to look at. But let's look at just a couple ranges of picks where, hey, I think I like this team without looking at it all because this range just really feels good. Anything jumping out to you initially?
Yeah.
And Lou, we won't do full roster breakdowns. Post it in our Discord just for the sake of time. I will absolutely, because I can't help myself, Lou. I will absolutely give you. And ask anyone in the Discord, just get it bookmark out, because I start typing and then an hour later it's done and it's a full novel, so it will happen.
Absolutely.
What are we thinking? What are we thinking? We'll leave our drafts out of it because we know we love them.
Yeah, I think just at first glance here. Well, I'm looking over at Doc Watson. He got Burrow here in the 6th. We're talking about not taking quarterbacks early. That's still probably early in this, but then he's still holding to changing my mind, Doc. Sorry. Let me move. Man, this is tough. There's a lot of good because this is good over here. I like Big Lou. Big Lou. He's got Genty, Walker. I'm actually very high on Walker this year. I think he's gonna have a great year. Harrison's another one. When you look at his metrics, just a little tweak to that offense, and I mean it's going to be a big year for him. Nakua is going to see a lot of play, even opposite Adams, because it's not Rodgers throwing the ball. No, it's good stuff.
So Big Lou, yeah, I liked that quite a bit. Specifically that Harrison range. That I mean, he was drafted to be great. He really could. We'll see how that goes. Like that quite a bit. Looking at some folks that I liked quite a bit. Okay, I liked Finn's up just because getting to start the draft with Hampton at 4.8 felt really, really nasty. I like the way. I'm not the biggest AJ Brown fan, to be honest, but Jefferson, the upside of Tyreek in the third, and then I'm just really, really high on Hampton. I feel like this was an example of solid falling value. Hurts in the sixth. I just feel like this is one of those rosters where I can't see it ever finishing bottom half, but it has the juice to win. It also has the juice to if Tyreek is bad, he's in trouble. But I think it's an example of a roster that's built to get to the playoffs. And if a couple things hit, it has the easy path to get over the top. So it's just a nicely constructed roster. Other generals, I'll throw Eep over here. I think he had to run. This is actually Ethan Epstein over here, a friend of the show. I love the hero RB build, right? Even his tight end, I think, is underrated, and grabbing Ferguson super late. But being able to grab Barkley, completely set at wide receiver, upside plus vets, and then built him a lot of upside, right? I know we were talking about the Tracy pick, but I think when you stack Scadaboo with Tootin, with Jalen Warren, who I think is going to be a very, very solid back. He's not the same thing as Najee. I think Warren really is going to be quite good for that offense. I think Rodgers likes to dump the ball off. Warren is one of those real value-centric players, I think. Liked that draft quite a bit. Honestly, there is very few drafts I didn't like as much, to be honest. I think the way everyone played the board is pretty good. Aiden grabbing Warren in addition to Kelsey, I thought that was really savvy. I don't like builds that just have Kelsey. I thought that was pretty good. Like Lord of Fanta, probably I hate your draft the most because you stole Kraft from all of us and also had Bowers. That's just a total draft to trade move that a savvy guy would pull, where he's all going to be throwing him on the block immediately. And then finishing, I also didn't think about this. Probably my favorite draft, honestly, because of just some of the pure value picks. Justin Fields in the 14th is amazing. I think that is absolutely impeccable. I mean, if everything hits for him, that is one of the steals of the draft. Is a last round Justin Fields. I was joking about late round Anthony Richardson. Fields as the last pick in your draft might be, I think, one of the best picks in fantasy. So that was interesting. I don't know, one or two more ranges that you like. We can go ahead and wrap up the show here.
I like is it Redire right here in like his rounds 8, 9, 10, 11. He got a lot, I think, of really good value in those running backs in Charbonnet, Stevenson, Harris, and then Ingram. I think there's a lot of good value there.
Yeah. I think we all collectively decided hey, in the late rounds we're all going to make the best picks, and it worked out quite nice. Yeah, some good ranges, some good individual picks. Well, good. Hey, this was fun. Thanks for coming out drafting. To those that are not in the Discord, two things. One, we're free right now. I haven't really monetized anything. Don't worry, that will at some point, right? Because I would love to pay one utility bill one of these days. But we're going to earn that. You know me. I will throw literal novels in the Discord. So in the meantime, while I'm trying to earn the fandom and trust from the community, please do join the Discord. It is an amazing group of really nice community members. We let other great, talented folks post in our Discord as well. So, hey, if you have a mock draft, come post it in my Discord. I'm not going to kick you out. I want it to be the place where folks come to mock and get better and then kick everyone's ass. That's how we do, and then have a beer at the end of the day. Please do like and subscribe, though. Likes in the video help other folks find us. That can add us to the community, even if it's probably doesn't mean a ton to you and me. It helps others find us. So that's why we ask for the likes, because we don't have a big marketing budget. So that's a big deal to us. And please do subscribe to the Get Right Fantasy Network, as well as my channel, the Fantasy Football Tavern. John, do you have any folks, any communities that the drafters here might want to check out, just for good times?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Sleeper, obviously as Luxembourgh, but also in Twitter as Luxembourgh. And then you can catch me in Dynasty Nerds. I do writing with them for a weekly grade to trade. So on Reddit, if you want to ever go onto Reddit and submit a trade onto there, I'll definitely do a grade. And then I'll be all over in the discourse over with Kendall and the Get Right crew and Get Right Fantasy, and also starting to participate and grade some trades in there.
Love it. Well, I should have most of the stuff in the description. I'm terrible at post and edit whatnot, so you may just have to get into the Discord and yell at me about what I didn't put in the YouTube videos, because I never do. But hey, I love the fantasy football draft community. Thanks for coming out on a random Tuesday. John, thanks for joining us. Definitely check out those articles. Hey, pop in and do a couple rate the trades over in our Discord a little bit. Let's have it up. Me and John are in the same league, so we're gonna have to do a trade that other people rip us up for. Only one of us is gonna come out with a dub. So let's get that done for sure.
Let me go find one. Maybe we can do a little water bet on who wins it.
Hey, we might have to. This is gonna get spicy. Oh, yeah, man, buddy. I love it. Well, thanks for coming out. John, definitely going to be on the show more than just this time, too. Hope to catch you on a Friday night mocks one of these days. Got to get a stronger drink in that hand. Come on out. If you think streaming and drafting is tough, stream and draft while drinking. That is a new game, my friend. Y'all are legendary. Be nice to each other. Go have a cold one. Let's go ahead and play some music here. Can we get an outro? This is what we need classic Mike for, we really need him going here. All right, guys, I'm gonna try my best to play an outro. We're gonna see if it works. Right. And